Hello everyone. I'm working on installing some sensors in my track here, and what this is a photoresistor. So what happens is when there's light on it, it's kind of a short, and then when there's no light or it goes dark, then it's open, and I can use that to trigger some relays. And the long story of what I'm doing here is I've got two loops in my track here, outer loop and inner loop. So when a train comes around here and hits that sensor, it's going to trigger some relays and cause this switch and this switch to go straight, and then these two switches down here will turn. So then the train will come down, turn, go to the outside loop and come around. And then I have another switch here that I'm working on. Well, I already installed it right here. Where is that? It's in here. That's actually, the white stuff is glue. That's another story. So then when the train will come around, and when it hits that sensor, then it'll cause these relays to turn and those two down there to go straight. So it can go in a continuous double loop on the outside than the inside. I might as well get to this now. So what I'm doing, this is a foam board that I have down here, and I put the track down with these little nails, and it holds it nicely in place, but the weight of the train as it goes around causes it to shift and actually lift up. So what I'm doing is just putting a little dot of white glue on there, and then I put a brick on it. These bricks, these are just regular construction bricks, and I take and I wrap them in electrical tape. And actually, the reason I have them is because I use them for door stops, but they have proved to be pretty handy for holding the track down while the glue dries. So that's what I'm doing. So let's get back to the topic of the sensor here. So yeah, I've got this sensor that I soldered, and I'm using Cat5 wire. This is what you would use for networking for computer systems, and it's a little bit stiff, but I like it, and I've got tons of it. I probably have 1,000 feet of it out in the garage. And this is solid, if you can see that. I like using the solid. It's easier to work with. The stranded stuff actually has like fibers in it, a little bit of cloth, and it's hard to solder and it's hard to work with actually, so it's not really meant to work with. But like I said, I've got tons of it, and it is easy to solder. It's copper, high quality wire. I got tons of it. So we want to have this sensor right about here, I guess will work. So I'm just going to drill right in here. There we go. And then let's get that out. And since I have the nails in it, you can push that in there, get the nail on it. Get the nail on it. So I just drilled like an 1/8 inch hole in there for the wire. And since it's foam board, this photoresistor is actually bigger than, you know, that hole, but it's alright, it'll sit right in there because it's foam. So we just jam that in here. I got about 8 feet or more of this wire. That I now tangle up into a heck of a mess. And yes, since it's foam board, that presses in there just perfectly. You can't even tell that it's in there. And then we put our piece of track on, and what do we need to do? I forgot where I drilled that. I need to put my track back together. Okay, yeah, so right here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, between 6 and 7 here. So what you need to do is between 6 and 7. I lost my file. So I got a round file here because that sensor is a little bit bigger than that gap in there, and you don't want it to accidentally trigger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in between here, we're gonna open this track up a little bit here. So you don't want to try and drill it, because if you get like a 1/4-inch drill bit or something like that, it'll catch on the edge of that track and actually just break your track up, make a mess. So just take a file and gently open that up. There's a whole lot of uses for those photoresistors in model railroading. If you see my video on the railroad crossing sign, it also works. I have to do a video on sensors. Okay, so I don't know if you can, yeah, there you go. So I filed that out a little bit just to make it a little bit wider, to make sure. Get the extra off of here. There we go. So we got that lined up. These dollar store here, extremely handy in picking up your track. So yeah, we got that lined up, and there's plenty of space around it so that it won't block the light and give us a false trigger. So I'm still working on the circuit to make this all work, and I'll be excited to show you when it's all ready to go. Going to the part of gluing down this track. So I'm just using plain old water soluble white glue. I guess that's from Rite Aid, whatever. And I was putting a dab in there, and I just proved that this is extremely handy and a good thing to use, because I had previously glued down this piece of track and then realized I forgot to put the sensor in there, and all I had to do was take a rag with some warm water on it, set it on there and let it soak for a couple of seconds, and was able to easily pull this track up, drill the hole and put the sensor in, and glue it right back down. So the white glue is a good solution. So I've got, I don't know, about half of this outer loop glued down, and then I've got to start on the inside loop, and my camera is all crooked. What else am I doing? I am working on lights here for the O gauge. Doink! So I put some LEDs up there that I got from the dollar store. I got a strip of foam board and drilled some little holes in it and just stuck it up there. And I also got this is a little LED strip light here. I think I got 2 of them for $5 or something like that, $5 or $7 on T-Mart. And where's that thing here? Plug that in. Ta-da! So actually, since I have 2 of them, I'm going to put both of them in there. I'm going to move that one to the right a little bit and then put the other one over there, so then you can actually see my O gauge display. So that's where I'm at today. Yeah, there's a bunch of wires from the turnout switches that I'm working on. So I'm using this Cat 5 wire again for the turnouts, and that works just fine. Since we're here and we're talking about it, this is my track cleaning stick. I printed this on the 3D printer. It's my own design, and I got a stick on there. It's about 2 feet long, and I put Velcro, 2 Velcro strips on there, and actually it turns out that this one's pretty dirty. Time for a new one. I use old socks. They're kind of cushiony and a little bit thick. I stick right on there, and then when I need to clean my track and places that are hard to reach, you just kind of swipe it on there. And if it's really bad, I can put a drop of alcohol on the bottom of that, and it works out pretty good. Alright, so I got a second LED strip there in the middle, which actually works pretty good there. Brightens that up, you can see everything. And I put these pillars in here because if you remember my original plan, I had a riser in the middle and then realized that was kind of stupid because nobody's going to see the train around the back. So I opened it up, and what I did when I did the top part here, I didn't really support it all that much, so it kind of bows in the middle, so I do need some support. And the reason for using these gigantic 4x4s is I don't really need the strength, but the thing is, if I put a like a 2x4 in there, it'll wobble back and forth and kind of end up at an angle. So by putting those in there, they will stay square. And I know they don't fit perfectly at the top, but that's because it's bowed in the middle, and we'll see what happens when it settles. Maybe I need to put a shim in there. So this lighting thing is kind of cool. So I got the LEDs. I can turn those off. It's nice and bright. Or what if I turn them on and then turn off strips? Then I guess we kind of get the night vision here. Maybe I'll put some lights in these houses and that'll look pretty cool. So I'm making some progress. And in case you don't recognize that house, it's from was that A Christmas Story? And I do have some little figures that go with it, so that'll be a cool thing there. And whatever else I found at the dollar store here. Okay. Thanks for watching.